Have you ever wondered what it means to maintain deep emotional connections, especially as we grow older? In this video, we'll dive into a topic that's often overlooked but affects millions of people worldwide: erectile dysfunction in older age. This is not just a medical issue but one that can impact relationships, self-esteem, and emotional well-being. Stick with me until the end of this video because we'll explore how this challenge can actually lead to deeper intimacy, better communication, and a more fulfilling relationship. By understanding the emotional and physical aspects of this experience, you'll gain insights that can help you or your loved ones navigate aging with grace and empathy. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means a lot, so if you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread our message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. My dear friends, today I feel a strong pull to discuss a subject that many people find difficult to address, one that often causes discomfort, and yet, it absolutely deserves our attention, empathy, and deep understanding: erectile dysfunction in older age. This is not just a medical issue, nor is it something that should be brushed aside as part of getting old. It's an experience that can evoke intense emotions, challenge intimate relationships, and deeply affect a man's sense of identity and self-worth. As someone who has lived a full life, witnessing both the beauty and trials of aging, and seeing how medical advancements have changed over the years, I believe this is a conversation that we must have with openness and without shame. Erectile dysfunction is not merely about physical health. It encompasses emotional well-being, self-respect, and the broader journey of growing older, a journey we all share, regardless of gender or background. So I invite you to settle in with me today, take a breath, and let us explore this topic that impacts far more people than we often realize. Erectile dysfunction, also known as ED, can affect men at various points throughout their lives, but it becomes significantly more prevalent as they grow older. The changes that come with aging are often a mix of emotional, physical, and psychological hurdles, many of which we may not anticipate. ED is one of those challenges that can be particularly difficult to navigate because it can strike at the heart of a man's confidence, his relationship with his partner, and even his view of himself. It's important to remember that erectile dysfunction is not an isolated problem, nor is it something that should provoke embarrassment or shame. Aging is a natural process that brings with it various transitions, and the changes in our bodies should be met with compassion, not judgment. What we must recognize is that erectile dysfunction is not simply a reflection of a man's personal strength or virility. It is often the result of biological changes that are beyond one's control. Our bodies, magnificent as they are, go through a natural process of decline over time. One of the most important aspects of maintaining healthy erectile function is blood circulation. With age, circulation can weaken, leading to a variety of health issues, including sexual dysfunction. The condition known as atherosclerosis, where arteries harden and narrow, can severely restrict the flow of blood to the penis, making it difficult to achieve or maintain an erection. This is a biological process, not a reflection of character or strength. Beyond the physical changes in circulation, hormonal shifts also play a significant role. Testosterone, the hormone responsible for much of a man's vitality, sexual drive, and energy, naturally declines as men age. This drop in testosterone can have a profound effect on one's libido, overall mood, and, of course, erectile function. It's not something that can be reversed simply by willpower or effort, and it's important for men to recognize that this is a natural part of aging that many others experience as well. We must also consider the role of chronic health conditions that tend to emerge more frequently as we grow older. Conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease can compound the problem, making erectile dysfunction even more likely. When these issues are combined with the emotional stress that often accompanies aging, fear of losing one's vitality, anxiety about maintaining intimacy in relationships, it becomes clear just how multifaceted this challenge can be. However, despite these complexities, there is one critical point I want to make. Erectile dysfunction is not a defeat, nor is it the end of a fulfilling sexual life. On the contrary, it is an opportunity to shift perspectives and find new ways of experiencing intimacy and connection. Aging, while it brings its share of challenges, also offers us the gift of wisdom, patience, and a deeper appreciation for what truly matters in life. Erectile dysfunction may signal the need for change, but it does not close the door on closeness, love, or intimacy. In fact, it can become a gateway to exploring new dimensions of emotional and physical connection with a partner. This is where the importance of communication and understanding comes into play. So often, men suffer in silence, believing that admitting to erectile dysfunction is admitting to failure or weakness. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Strength lies in vulnerability, in the ability to speak openly with your partner about the changes you're going through. It's about recognizing that intimacy is far more than just the physical act of sex. It's about emotional connection, trust, and the bond that grows stronger with time. Erectile dysfunction can be the starting point for conversations that lead to deeper, more meaningful intimacy, where both partners learn to explore and appreciate each other in new and fulfilling ways. In today's world, there are more options than ever before for addressing erectile dysfunction. Medical advancements have provided us with a variety of treatments that can help men regain their physical ability to engage in sexual activity. Medications, hormone therapies, and even lifestyle changes can make a significant difference. But beyond these medical interventions, there is an opportunity for men to redefine what intimacy means as they age. Intimacy in older age often takes on a new, more profound meaning. It's not about the same passion and physical intensity of youth. It's about tenderness, emotional closeness, and shared experiences. The depth of understanding that comes from a lifetime spent together can create a bond that is far more powerful than anything purely physical. Erectile dysfunction, rather than being seen as a limitation, can become the impetus for discovering these deeper layers of love and connection. It's about adapting to the changes that come with aging, not resisting them. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. To all of my dear listeners, I sincerely hope that this conversation has helped to broaden your perspective on erectile dysfunction, especially as it relates to growing older. It's crucial to remember that while our bodies change, our capacity for love, connection, and joy remains strong. If anything, it grows deeper as we age. The ability to enjoy life, to connect meaningfully with those we love, and to experience intimacy is not confined to our youth. It's something that evolves with us, and in many ways, it can become richer as we grow older. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments about what we've discussed today, I encourage you to share them. Let's keep this dialogue open, because the more we talk about these issues, the more we can remove the stigma and shame that often surrounds them. Thank you for joining me on this journey of reflection, empathy, and understanding. I look forward to continuing these conversations with you in the future, as we explore the complexities and beauty of life together. Until next time, remember that you are valued, you are loved, and your ability to connect deeply with others remains boundless. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you in the next discussion. But it's not just the physical aspect of a man that feels the weight of erectile dysfunction. It's his emotional and mental well-being that often suffers in profound and unexpected ways. Imagine the inner turmoil for a man who has spent much of his life identifying with his strength, vitality, and role as a protector. The man who once felt invincible, who prided himself on being there for his family, now finds himself grappling with feelings of inadequacy and frustration. He may feel as though something crucial has been taken away, something that defined who he was, not just to others, but to himself. This inner conflict can spill over into every area of his life, leaving him feeling disconnected from his partner, unsure of how to rebuild intimacy, and questioning his place in the world. It's an emotional burden that can be just as heavy, if not heavier, than the physical one. What's more, this issue isn't always talked about, and that silence can be deeply isolating. Erectile dysfunction, while incredibly common, often makes men feel as if they are alone in their struggle. The embarrassment or fear of judgment can prevent them from opening up to those closest to them, including their partner. This lack of communication creates distance, leaving both partners feeling emotionally isolated. The man may pull away, avoiding intimacy altogether out of fear of failure or rejection. In doing so, he risks damaging the very relationship that could offer him comfort, support, and understanding. I've seen the many phases of life, and one thing that has always remained constant is the importance of compassion, both toward ourselves and others. We must approach this subject with empathy and a broader understanding of the complexities that come with aging. The truth is, aging should not be feared. It's a natural process that brings challenges, yes, but it also brings incredible opportunities for growth, reflection, and deeper emotional connections. There's a richness to life that we can only begin to appreciate with age, a wisdom that allows us to see beyond the surface and embrace the deeper, more meaningful aspects of living. Men who face erectile dysfunction need to remember that this is not a battle they need to fight alone. You are not the only one going through this. Millions of men experience erectile dysfunction at some point in their lives, especially as they age. There is no shame in it. In fact, by acknowledging it and seeking help, you are taking the first step toward reclaiming not only your physical health but your emotional well-being as well. And the good news is that there are many options available to help manage and overcome this issue. From medical treatments and therapy to lifestyle changes and simply learning to open up and communicate with your partner, there are solutions. One of the most important things a man can do when dealing with erectile dysfunction is to open the lines of communication with his partner. This can be incredibly difficult, especially when feelings of shame or fear are involved, but it is a vital step toward healing. A loving and supportive partner can provide the emotional connection and reassurance that are so often needed in these moments. By discussing the issue openly, you can work together to find new ways to maintain intimacy, even if it looks different than it once did. After all, intimacy is about far more than just physical acts. It's about emotional closeness, trust, and a shared bond that goes beyond the physical. It's essential to also talk with your doctor about erectile dysfunction. A professional can help identify the root cause of the problem, whether it's physical, hormonal, or emotional, and provide guidance on the best course of treatment. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, but with the right support, you can find the option that works best for you. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about restoring physical function. It's about restoring confidence, emotional connection, and overall well-being. We need to remind ourselves that aging is not about loss. It's about change. Yes, our bodies may not function in the same way they did when we were younger, but that doesn't diminish our worth or our capacity for love, connection, or joy. In fact, many of the greatest gifts of life, wisdom, patience, emotional depth, only come with time. And so as we age, we must learn to adapt and embrace these changes with grace and kindness, both toward ourselves and toward those we love. To all the men out there struggling with erectile dysfunction, please remember, you are not defined by this one challenge. You are so much more than your physical body. Your worth, your identity, your value as a partner, as a person, are not tied to whether or not you can perform in the way you once did. Life is rich and complex, and so are you. You are a complete human being with so much to offer, regardless of the changes your body may go through. The key to navigating this challenge is not to give in to feelings of isolation or despair, but to approach it with courage and openness. Talk to your doctor, talk to your partner, and most importantly, talk to yourself with kindness and compassion. Your worth is not determined by your physical ability, but by the love, wisdom, and strength you bring to your relationships and your life. Aging may bring challenges, but it also brings an incredible opportunity to grow closer to those you love, to deepen emotional bonds, and to redefine what intimacy means in this new chapter of life. Remember, erectile dysfunction is not the end, it's simply a new beginning. With the right mindset, support, and treatment, you can navigate this phase of life with dignity, strength, and a deeper sense of connection to yourself and your loved ones. You are not alone, and there is always hope for a fulfilling, joyful, and intimate life, regardless of the challenges you may face. To the men who find themselves facing the challenge of erectile dysfunction, ED, and to the partners who care for and stand by them, I want to offer some heartfelt advice. approach this journey with a deep sense of patience, empathy, and unwavering love. This is not an easy path, and it can often be filled with frustration, fear, and self-doubt. However, it's important to remember that these emotions, while understandable, can cloud your way to healing and resolution. Overcoming erectile dysfunction is not simply about addressing the physical symptoms. It's about fostering deeper connections, trust, and emotional resilience. Intimacy, after all, is not solely tied to physical performance. It's about the profound bond that grows stronger with time, and as we age, this bond has the potential to deepen in ways that can be far more rewarding and meaningful than we ever imagined when we were younger. We must break the silence that often surrounds erectile dysfunction. It's time to talk about it with respect, understanding, and openness. Life doesn't come to a halt when our bodies change. Rather, life evolves, offering new opportunities for growth, learning, and rediscovery. We may no longer possess the same physical strength or stamina we once did, but we gain something even more valuable as we age: the wisdom and grace that only come with life's lived experiences. This wisdom allows us to approach challenges like ED with a renewed sense of purpose and perspective. It invites us to honor the journey of aging, facing its hurdles with dignity, courage, and the knowledge that we are capable of much more than we may realize. One key element that often goes overlooked when discussing erectile dysfunction is the immense role mental health plays in this condition. Anxiety, depression, and chronic stress can be as damaging to sexual function as any physical ailment, sometimes even more so. The mind is a powerful force, and when it is weighed down by emotional burdens, it can have a profound impact on a man's ability to perform sexually. For many men, the pressures of life, whether related to work, family, or personal insecurities, can accumulate over time, silently chipping away at their confidence and sense of self-worth. This emotional toll can cast a long shadow over intimate relationships, causing disconnection, frustration, and heartache. It's especially heartbreaking to consider how something as personal and integral as sexual function can be undermined by invisible forces like psychological distress. Erectile dysfunction is not simply a physical problem. It's often intertwined with a man's identity, his masculinity, and his perception of his role in relationships. For men who have spent years seeing themselves as strong, capable, and dependable, ED can feel like a devastating blow to their self-esteem, leading them to question their value and place in the world. What many don't realize is that psychological factors contribute to a significant portion of erectile dysfunction cases. In fact, studies published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine suggest that around 20% of ED cases in older men are rooted in psychological issues. That's nearly 1 in 5 men struggling with ED, not because of a physical ailment, but because of the weight of their own mental and emotional burdens. This makes it clear that erectile dysfunction isn't just a medical issue, it's an emotional one as well. When a man is battling performance anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, or unresolved relationship conflicts, these mental barriers can create a seemingly insurmountable wall between him and the intimacy he once enjoyed. Consider the silent barriers that many men put up when they begin to experience ED. Often, instead of discussing these feelings openly with their partners, they retreat into themselves, shutting down emotionally. This is frequently driven by a fear of rejection or judgment, a fear that if they admit to struggling, they will be seen as weak or less of a man. But in reality, this silence only deepens the issue. When intimacy falters and emotional distance grows, both partners are left feeling isolated, confused, and hurt. Yet, it doesn't have to be this way. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Breaking through these barriers begins with acknowledging the emotional impact of erectile dysfunction. Recognizing that mental health plays a pivotal role in ED opens the door to healing. Therapy, counseling, and even simple heart-to-heart conversations can be powerful tools in dismantling the mental walls that keep men trapped in cycles of shame and self-doubt. It's vital to address the mental and emotional aspects of ED just as seriously as any physical cause. Mental well-being is deeply connected to sexual function, and resolving psychological issues such as anxiety or depression can lead to a profound improvement in a man's ability to connect intimately with his partner. One of the most important steps in managing erectile dysfunction is communication, both with a partner and with healthcare professionals. Talking openly with your partner about ED can be incredibly freeing. It creates a space for vulnerability and honesty, where both individuals can express their fears, frustrations, and hopes for the future. This can lead to a deeper emotional connection and allow couples to explore new forms of intimacy that go beyond the physical. Physical closeness is important, but emotional intimacy is what sustains a relationship through its many ups and downs. Additionally, speaking with a doctor is crucial in understanding the full scope of erectile dysfunction. A medical professional can help identify whether the root cause of ED is physical, psychological, or a combination of both. They can guide you through treatment options, whether that be medication, lifestyle changes, or therapy, that can make a significant difference in your sexual health and overall well-being. What's important to remember is that erectile dysfunction is not a dead end. There are numerous ways to approach this challenge, and with the right support, men can reclaim their confidence, intimacy, and sense of self-worth. Aging, with all of its changes, is not a process of loss but one of transformation. As we age, we may not be able to do everything we once could physically, but this doesn't diminish our value or our capacity for love, connection, or joy. In fact, many of the greatest gifts of life, empathy, patience, understanding, are things that can only be fully realized with time. There is so much more to intimacy than what happens in the bedroom. It's the laughter shared over breakfast, the comfort found in each other's presence, and the trust that deepens over years of facing life's challenges together. For all the men out there struggling with erectile dysfunction, and for their partners who care for them, know that this is not the end of your story. You are not defined by ED. You are defined by the love, kindness, and strength you bring into your relationships and your life. This is a time for growth, for finding new ways to connect emotionally and physically, and for rediscovering what intimacy truly means. Don't let ED make you feel like less of a person or rob you of the joys of a fulfilling life. There are solutions, and there is always hope for a deeper, more rewarding connection with yourself and those you love. I want to share with you a story that may resonate with many men, a story that touches not only the physical aspects of aging but also the deep emotional and psychological impacts that often go unspoken. This is the story of a man I once knew. Let's call him Don Manuel. In his younger years, Don Manuel was the embodiment of vitality, someone who seemed untouchable in his strength, energy, and passion for life. He was known by all who encountered him as a man full of joy, always radiating laughter and positivity. His love for life was infectious, but it was his love for his wife that truly defined him. Together, they shared a relationship filled with passion, trust, and unshakable loyalty, a bond that had been built over decades of shared experiences, challenges, and triumphs. Their love was something that many admired, a partnership that seemed to transcend time and adversity. As they grew older together, they faced the usual challenges that come with aging. But for the longest time, Don Manuel appeared to remain unaffected by the passage of time. He was still full of life, still thriving, and still devoted to his wife in every way. Yet, like so many others, he eventually began to experience subtle changes in his body. At first, they were easy to ignore, occasional moments of difficulty during intimacy, fleeting struggles that Don Manuel could brush off without much concern. After all, he was still the same man, still full of vigor and energy. Why would a few minor hiccups change that? But as time passed, those small moments of difficulty started to become more frequent. What once seemed like a random occurrence turned into a persistent problem. Don Manuel found himself increasingly unable to maintain an erection, a change that began to take root in his mind and heart in ways he hadn't anticipated. Suddenly, the man who had always been defined by his vitality was confronted with a reality he never expected: erectile dysfunction. And with this realization came a flood of emotions that overwhelmed him. For Don Manuel, this was more than just a physical issue. It was an emotional crisis, one that struck at the very core of who he believed himself to be. His identity, so closely tied to his sense of masculinity, was now in question. The man who had always felt confident and in control of his body now felt vulnerable, uncertain, and most of all, ashamed. He couldn't bring himself to admit what was happening, not to his wife, and certainly not to himself. In his mind, acknowledging his struggle would mean admitting that he was no longer the man he used to be, that something essential about him had been lost. So, like many men in his situation, Don Manuel chose silence. He internalized the struggle, burying it deep within himself, hoping that by not acknowledging it, the problem might simply go away. But the silence only deepened his sense of isolation. Every night, he lay next to his wife, feeling the weight of unspoken fears pressing down on him. The more he kept his struggle hidden, the more distant he became, both physically and emotionally. He avoided intimacy, not because he no longer desired his wife, but because he was terrified of failing, of confirming his worst fear, that he could no longer be the man he had always been for her. His wife, unaware of the full extent of his inner turmoil, began to sense the change. She noticed his increasing distance, his reluctance to engage in the physical closeness that had always been a natural part of their relationship. She tried to reach out, to bridge the gap, but without knowing what was truly going on, she was left feeling confused and hurt. The emotional distance between them grew wider each day, as Don Manuel continued to retreat into himself, consumed by his feelings of inadequacy and fear of rejection. What Don Manuel didn't realize at the time was that the true threat to his relationship wasn't his erectile dysfunction, it was his silence. By keeping his struggle hidden, he was building walls between himself and the person who loved him most. His wife, who had stood by his side through every other challenge life had thrown their way, was now being shut out of the one challenge that mattered most to him. The more he avoided confronting the issue, the more his sense of shame and isolation grew. The turning point came when his wife finally confronted him, not out of anger or frustration, but out of concern and love. She had noticed his increasing distance and could no longer ignore the changes in their relationship. She sat him down and, with compassion in her voice, asked him what was wrong. It was in that moment, as he looked into her eyes and saw the depth of her care, that Don Manuel realized he couldn't carry this burden alone any longer. He broke down, confessing the shame he had been harboring for so long. He told her about his fear of losing his masculinity, his fear of disappointing her, and how this fear had kept him from being honest. To his surprise, his wife's reaction was not one of disappointment or rejection, but of understanding and love. She reassured him that their relationship was built on much more than physical intimacy, and that she loved him for who he was, not for what his body could or couldn't do. Together, they faced the issue head-on, seeking medical advice and exploring new ways to maintain their emotional and physical connection. The openness and honesty that had been missing for so long returned, and with it came a renewed sense of closeness that was deeper than ever before. Don Manuel's story is a powerful reminder that erectile dysfunction is not just a physical issue, it is an emotional one as well. The silence that often surrounds this issue can be more damaging than the condition itself. It's a reminder that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength, and that true intimacy comes from being open and honest with the people we love. Don Manuel learned that his worth was not defined by his physical abilities, but by the love, compassion, and trust he shared with his wife. In the end, it was the breaking of the silence that allowed Don Manuel to reclaim not just his sense of self, but his relationship as well. His story is a testament to the power of communication, the importance of emotional connection, and the resilience of love in the face of life's challenges. The tragedy of this story lies not in the physical issue itself, but in the emotional toll it took on him. You see, erectile dysfunction is often seen as a physical condition, but its emotional and psychological impact can be far more devastating. For Don Manuel, it wasn't just about losing his ability to perform, it was about losing a part of himself. The man who had once been so confident, so full of life, now felt hollow. He was haunted by thoughts of inadequacy, by the fear that his wife would see him as less of a man, and that fear slowly ate away at their relationship. What's worse is that his wife, though deeply loving and supportive, felt the effects of his silence. She noticed the changes, not just in their physical relationship, but in their emotional connection. The man she had loved for decades was pulling away from her, retreating into himself, and she didn't know why. She longed to help him, to comfort him, but without communication, she was left in the dark, unsure of how to bridge the growing gap between them. But Don Manuel's story, like many others, didn't end in despair. After months of emotional distance and unspoken fears, something shifted. His wife, sensing that something needed to be done, approached him with love and understanding. She encouraged him to open up, to share his fears, and to face the issue together. It wasn't easy. Don Manuel had spent so long internalizing his struggle, believing that it was his burden alone to bear. But through the patient, compassionate support of his wife, he began to realize that erectile dysfunction wasn't just his problem, it was their problem. Together, they sought help. They learned about the various treatments available, from medical interventions to counseling, and they began to rebuild the emotional intimacy that had been lost. For Don Manuel, the journey wasn't just about restoring his physical ability. It was about rediscovering the emotional connection with his wife that had been overshadowed by his fears. Through open communication and mutual support, they found a way to navigate this challenge together, emerging stronger and more connected than ever before. This story is a powerful reminder that erectile dysfunction is not just a physical issue, it's a deeply emotional one. It affects not only the individual but also their relationships, their sense of self, and their mental well-being. But it's also a reminder that there is hope. With understanding, love, and communication, even the most difficult challenges can be overcome. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. If you or someone you love is facing this struggle, know that you are not alone. Erectile dysfunction is far more common than most people realize, and there is no shame in seeking help. Whether through medical treatments, counseling, or simply opening up to your partner, there are ways to move forward. Remember, your worth is not defined by any one aspect of your life. You are a whole person, deserving of love, respect, and dignity, regardless of the changes your body may go through. The key to navigating this challenge lies in embracing vulnerability, in understanding that it's okay to seek help, and in recognizing that intimacy is about far more than physical performance. It's about emotional connection, trust, and the love that grows deeper with time. Life may change as we age, but with the right support and mindset, we can face those changes with strength, grace, and resilience. Don Manuel's story is proof of that. Don Manuel, like many men, found himself at a crossroads when he finally decided to confront the issue that had been weighing heavily on his mind for months. For far too long, he had been living in the shadows of embarrassment, convinced that his problem was a personal failure, something that marked the end of an important chapter in his life. He had avoided talking to anyone about it, especially his wife, out of a deep fear that it would change how she viewed him. But eventually, the emotional toll became too great, and Don Manuel summoned the courage to visit his doctor. To his immense relief, the doctor was both understanding and reassuring. He explained that erectile dysfunction is a common issue for men, particularly as they age, and it was nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, it was far more widespread than Don Manuel had ever realized. The doctor walked him through the many potential causes, from reduced blood flow and hormonal imbalances to psychological factors such as anxiety or depression. Most importantly, the doctor emphasized that Don Manuel was not alone, and there were plenty of treatment options available that could help him reclaim not just his physical ability, but his confidence and emotional connection with his wife. This conversation was a turning point for Don Manuel. He had spent so much time wrestling with feelings of inadequacy that he had forgotten the importance of seeking help. For the first time in months, he felt a sense of hope. He learned that erectile dysfunction wasn't a reflection of his masculinity, but rather a natural part of aging that many men experience, and, more importantly, something that could be treated. The path to recovery involved a combination of medications and psychological therapy. Don Manuel's doctor prescribed him a medication to improve blood flow to his penis, allowing him to achieve an erection with ease during sexual activity. In addition, he began seeing a therapist to help him work through the emotional aspects of the condition. The therapy sessions were invaluable for Don Manuel. He realized how much his mental health had been contributing to the problem. The fear of failure, the anxiety over disappointing his wife, and the shame he had felt had all compounded the issue, making it worse than it needed to be. Through therapy, he began to rebuild his self-esteem, understanding that his worth wasn't defined by this one aspect of his life. As he regained his confidence, something beautiful happened in his relationship with his wife. For so long, the unspoken tension had created distance between them, but now, with the help of therapy and open communication, they were able to reconnect in ways they hadn't for years. His wife, who had always been his biggest supporter, embraced him with understanding and compassion. She reassured him that their relationship was built on much more than physical intimacy, and together, they worked to strengthen their bond. Don Manuel's journey back to intimacy was not just about the physical act of sex, but about rediscovering the emotional connection that had been missing. With every step forward, he found that he was able to reclaim a piece of himself that he thought had been lost forever. His story is a powerful reminder of the importance of facing challenges head-on, and how, through communication and support, even the most difficult problems can be overcome. Today, men like Don Manuel have access to a variety of medical treatments that can significantly improve erectile dysfunction. Medications like sildenafil, commonly known as Viagra, tadalafil, Cialis, and vardenafil, Levitra, have become household names, offering hope to countless men who thought their sex lives were over. These drugs work by increasing blood flow to the penis, making it easier to achieve and maintain an erection. They have been a game changer for millions of men around the world, allowing them to regain not just their sexual function, but their sense of identity and self-worth. But for those who may not respond well to oral medications, there are other effective treatments available. One option is intracavernous injections, where medication is injected directly into the penis. While the idea of an injection may seem daunting at first, many men have found it to be a reliable and effective method for achieving a firm erection. For others, vacuum erection devices provide a non-invasive way to help draw blood into the penis by creating a vacuum around it. These devices can be particularly helpful for men who prefer a more mechanical approach to treatment, or for those who want to avoid the potential side effects of medication. In addition to these well-established treatments, there are newer, non-pharmacological therapies that have shown great promise. Low-intensity shockwave therapy, for example, is a technique that uses sound waves to promote the regeneration of blood vessels in the penis. This therapy has been found to be particularly useful for men who don't respond well to traditional medications, or who prefer to explore treatments that may have longer-lasting effects. Unlike pills, which are typically taken as needed, shockwave therapy offers the possibility of more sustained improvement in erectile function. Another option for men experiencing erectile dysfunction is testosterone replacement therapy. As men age, their testosterone levels naturally decline, and this hormonal shift can affect sexual desire, energy levels, and even the ability to achieve an erection. For men with low testosterone, hormone replacement therapy can help restore hormonal balance and improve both libido and erectile function. While it may not be the right solution for everyone, it has proven to be an effective treatment for many men who struggle with low testosterone levels. Don Manuel's story is a testament to the importance of taking action and seeking help. His experience shows us that erectile dysfunction doesn't have to be the end of intimacy, connection, or self-confidence. With the right treatments and support, men can overcome this challenge and come out stronger on the other side. More than that, it highlights the power of communication and the incredible strength that comes from facing difficulties together with a partner. Intimacy isn't just about physical performance, it's about trust, vulnerability, and the deep emotional bonds we form with those we love. To anyone reading this, if you or someone you love is struggling with erectile dysfunction, know that there is hope. Don't let fear or embarrassment keep you from seeking help. Whether through medication, therapy, or alternative treatments, there are solutions that can help you regain both your sexual health and your confidence. Remember, you are not defined by this condition. You are so much more than that, and with the right support, you can move forward, stronger and more connected than ever before. Now, I want to take you on a deeper journey of reflection, one that invites us to reconsider how we view sexuality, aging, and the intimate connections we hold dear. Sexuality is an intrinsic part of our human experience, woven into the very fabric of our identity, and it remains with us throughout our entire lives, regardless of age. As we grow older, life presents us with many challenges, some physical, some emotional. But within these challenges lies a unique opportunity for growth, adaptation, and transformation. While erectile dysfunction may seem like a daunting issue, it should never be seen as the end of one's sexual life. Instead, it can mark the beginning of a new phase, one filled with opportunities for deeper understanding, emotional connection, and newfound forms of intimacy. Aging is a complex and beautiful process. Our bodies change, yes, but so do our minds and our hearts. With these changes come the opportunity to rethink how we approach our relationships and our sexuality. Erectile dysfunction, while often viewed through a lens of fear and frustration, can be an invitation to embrace a new way of experiencing love and connection. It's not about losing something essential, but rather about discovering new pathways to intimacy that are equally meaningful and fulfilling. In fact, this phase of life can offer us the chance to deepen our emotional bonds with our partners, to explore new dimensions of intimacy that transcend the purely physical. One of the most powerful realizations we can come to as we age is that intimacy is far more than just a physical act. It's about the emotional connection we share with our partners, the trust and vulnerability that build over years of shared experiences, and the profound sense of closeness that comes from being truly seen and accepted by someone we love. Erectile dysfunction doesn't diminish this connection. In many ways, it can actually strengthen it. By encouraging open communication, mutual understanding, and a willingness to explore new forms of closeness, couples can rediscover each other in ways they never thought possible. The reality is that aging offers us a unique opportunity to reflect on who we are, how we relate to others, and what truly matters in our relationships. The physical challenges we face as we grow older, such as erectile dysfunction, can be reframed as opportunities to build even stronger emotional connections. These challenges push us to step outside of the conventional narratives around sex and intimacy and embrace new ways of expressing our love for one another. And while physical function is important, the emotional closeness we cultivate as we age can be just as, if not more, satisfying. Think of this as a chance to rediscover yourself and your relationship. When we stop viewing erectile dysfunction as an obstacle and start seeing it as a doorway to new forms of connection, we can begin to approach intimacy in a way that is more thoughtful, deliberate, and deeply satisfying. This is not the end, it's a new chapter, one that invites us to let go of old expectations and embrace the beauty of growing older with someone we love. With age comes wisdom, patience, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters in life and love. I urge you to consider this. Sexuality in older age is not just about the mechanics of the body, it's about the profound emotional intimacy that can develop between partners. Emotional connection can create a type of closeness that transcends physical limitations. Through open dialogue, compassion, and shared vulnerability, couples can navigate this phase of life together, finding joy in their shared experiences and rediscovering what makes their bond unique. To all of you listening, I sincerely hope that today's talk has provided you with a broader, more nuanced understanding of erectile dysfunction as we age. It's important to remember that while our bodies may change, our capacity to love, to connect deeply, and to enjoy life never diminishes. In fact, it can grow stronger as we embrace the wisdom that comes with age. Our ability to love and experience intimacy remains a constant, no matter what physical changes we may go through. This conversation is an important one, and I hope it encourages you to seek support, ask questions, and continue exploring your relationships with an open heart. There's no shame in acknowledging the challenges that come with aging. What's most important is how we choose to face those challenges, with courage, understanding, and a sense of shared purpose. Now that we've explored the complexities of erectile dysfunction and the deeper emotional and physical impacts it has, I'd love to know, what have you learned from today's discussion? Please comment below on one key insight you'll take and apply in your life, whether it's about emotional intimacy, open communication, or aging with grace. If you found value in this video, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. And as always, if you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means the world to us.